This can't be real, hissed Vorak, leaning forward on both elbows, his third eye twitching with irritation. A Terran ship. Over Yelth Prime? The council chamber burst into snickering. Was it duct taped together again? Someone. Cracked. Maybe they launched it with gunpowder. Laughter, sharp and echoing, bounced through the golden chamber. The species seated here ruled 11 sectors. Their words shaped policy, toppled systems. They didn't fear, they mocked. Let the minutes reflect, droned Archivist Fell, that Earth remains a non-threat, still lacking jump gate signatures, interlinked diplomacy, or confirmed quantum propulsion. Vorak grinned, which means their presence near Yalf is either fiction or the dumbest navigational accident in galactic history. Finished another delegate. The laughter rolled again, deeper this time. But Chancellor Orcs didn't laugh. He watched the still frame on the central screen. A ship, blacker than void, wedges where curves should be. No markings. No engines visible. And no broadcast code. Ships always pinged. For ID, for trade, for recognition. This one didn't. It just stared. Tell me again, Orcs said quietly. What exactly did it do? The aide at the console blinked. Nothing, sir. It appeared. Held orbit for 48 minutes. Then something happened. The air cooled, defined something. The aide's hands trembled over the panel. Every orbital satellite failed. Every drone. Planet-wide blackout for 11 seconds. Anne. MP? Vorak scoffed. No. Power returned perfectly. Just memory gaps. Everything electronic recorded static. Every sentient experienced silence. Silence. Orcs repeated. The word sounded like a prophecy. Vorak rolled his eyes. You're all jumping at shadows. Earth's best tech is still burning coal. They can't manipulate systems. They can't even speak our language without stuttering. The aide cleared his throat. Actually, sir, they spoke. The room quieted. Orcs's gaze sharpened. Say that again. They sent one message, not via broadcast, not even through subspace. It appeared embedded in our command files. All systems, all locations. Orcs stood slowly. What did it say? The aide swallowed. 6 words. He tapped the panel. The chamber speakers buzzed, then settled. A human voice. Male. Low. You laughed at Earth. We heard. The room went cold. No threats. No demands. Just that. You laughed at Earth. We heard. Vorak stood now, face tight. Pranks. Psychological manipulation. This isn't power. It's desperation. We should wipe them now before this nonsense spreads. Orcs didn't speak. He looked up at the display and noticed something. The ship wasn't in orbit anymore. It hadn't left. It had disappeared. Playback satellite footage. Orcs ordered. Right before the blackout. A still image loaded. The black ship. Mid-frame. Then the next image. Gone. No burn trail. No motion blur. Just not there. Vorak's voice rose. You're all scared of a vanishing ship and a cryptic message. That's not power. That's a child knocking on our door and running away. Someone near the chamber's edge muttered, Then why does it feel like a funeral? A soft beep interrupted them. Incoming broadcast. Unregistered. Unstoppable. The holoscreen. Flash. Not video. Just a pulse. A countdown. 0 hours 0 minutes and 49 seconds 50 seconds. Orcs whispered. Where's the signal coming from? The aide looked ill. Everywhere. Even places without receivers. Vorak stepped back from the table. Cut it. We can't. Smash it. We already tried. The countdown ticked down. 30 seconds. Someone bolted from their seat. 20-5. Orcs didn't move. He just watched. The air felt heavier. 15.10.5.1. The holoscreen went black. Then, a whisper, but it wasn't sound. It was felt, a presence, inside their minds. Their bones. A voice. You joked, you mocked, you dismissed. That was your last mistake. One by one, lights across the chamber flickered. The stars above them dimmed. Literally. Because the Terran ships had arrived, not in one system, but all of them, orbiting, surrounding, blotting out suns. No fleet had seen them arrive. No radar picked up their approach. They were just there. Waiting. Silent. The laughter stopped, and that was before Earth even responded. They weren't supposed to see the fleet. Not yet, Commander. Ash Hale stood alone in Hangar 4C beneath Olympus Massif, a mile beneath Earth's surface, watching shadows of vessels hang in silence. Some still unfinished, others hidden for years. They looked like predators sleeping with their eyes open. He didn't flinch when the secure door hissed open behind him. General Revan stepped through, slow and heavy. His breath carried tension, his silence more. You saw the council feed? Ash asked without turning. Revan nodded. Everyone did. They triggered the blackout. The ships moved. Ash's eyes never left the dark outlines above. That wasn't the plan. No, Revan agreed. It wasn't. They stood there, under steel sky, the air humming with quiet systems reactors that never overheated, grav lifts that never flickered, high cores that never asked for recognition. Everything had been built in silence. And now the silence was answering. Revan finally broke. They laughed. Ash smiled, dry, hollow. Of course they did. We let them. For 30 years, Revan said, we pretended to be behind. Ash turned now. Because if they ever knew the truth, they'd panic. They'd unite. Revan's voice hardened. And now? Ash sighed. Now they're too late for unity. A silence hung between them. Not awkward. Just final. Revan tapped a command pad. A window opened to the orbital feed. Dozens of black ships. No heat signatures. No cal signs. Lined up like sentinels above alien homeworlds. Not attacking. Not threatening. Just there. You think they understand what they're seeing? Revan asked. No, Ash said. That's the point. The general turned toward him. We only showed 30% of the fleet. Ash nodded. Just enough to let them feel the cold edge, not the blade. Revan hesitated. And if they attack? Ash's voice went quiet. Then we finished the sentence. Revan didn't ask what the sentence was, because he already knew. They laughed. We heard. Now we answer. Ash walked toward a console and activated the next sequence. A row of ships ignited silently in their cradles, wedge-shaped. No windows. No symbols. Not even names. What's the AI count now? He asked. 7 operational, Revan said. 5 off-grid. 2 changed. Changed? Revan nodded. Sovereign refused to follow recall protocol. She says, and I quote, they need to feel watched. Ash didn't react. He just rubbed his thumb along the edge of the console. She's not wrong. Revan stepped closer. Why did we really go dark, Ash? I mean, all the way back. What was the trigger? Ash's. Fingers paused. Then he answered, because they abducted children. Revan stiffened. They thought we wouldn't find out, Ash continued. 15 kids from Terran colonies disappeared on trade missions. DNA confirmed months later. All dead. Dissected. The general's throat moved like he'd swallowed. Fire. Why didn't we go to war then? Ash turned fully now, eyes alive with something deeper than anger. Because we weren't ready. Revan sat down on a bench, staring up at the black holes above. How long have we been building these? Ash didn't blink. Since the first colony ship got intercepted and no one came to help. Riven laughed bitterly. We're ghosts to them. Ash said nothing. Then he added, and ghosts don't knock. The comm crackled suddenly. Commander Halle, Priority 1 ping. Foreign broadcast looping across all sectors. Ash stepped to the panel. Put it through. The screen lit up. Chancellor Vorak. Pale, shaking. Not behind his council podium. This was a personal feed. Emergency level. To the Terran High Command. We request dialogue. Open diplomatic channel. Immediate de-escalation, Raven muttered. Now they beg. Ash narrowed his eyes. Do we respond? Up to you, Riven said. Ash stared at the feed. No, he said softly. Let the silence speak for now. He shut the broadcast, then walked to the center of the hangar and looked up at the ship in Dock 1. A giant easily 5 times the size of anything the galaxy had dared to build. Smooth armor, obsidian sheen, no lights. Its presence drained color from the air. The Leviathan, he remembered building. It. 12 years in secret. CREWLESS.EMOTIONLES, as that unforgiving. Double quotes has the AI linked to Leviathan? Ash asked. Raven's voice was lower now. It named itself. Ash turned his head slightly. It calls itself Echo. Ash didn't respond. Just let the name echo in his mind. Appropriate. Everything they'd done was an echo of what the galaxy ignored. And now? Now the sky was full of reminders. The Terran ships didn't speak, didn't blink, didn't move. They just existed. And that was more terrifying than 1,000 declarations of war. Raven stepped beside Ash again. They thought we were building peace treaties. Ash smirked. We were building consequences. High Marshal Tave stared at the incoming sensor grid with dry, aching eyes. Nothing changed, but everything felt wrong. Still no movement? He asked, though he already knew the answer. No, sir, his aide replied. The Terran vessels remain in orbital formation. 0 heat, 0 broadcast. 0 fluctuation. Tave's mandibles clicked softly. 13 Terran ships now hovered over the capital planet of the Zarkale Dominion. Just above the clouds. Still. UNBLINKING. Like they were watching, like they knew. He leaned on the edge of the halotable, claws tapping rhythmically, trying to mask the tremble in his left leg. Have we tried contacting them again? 73 attempts, the aide replied. On all known frequencies, including diplomatic and peace band. No response. Tave shut his eyes. His breathing slowed. Not meditating bracing. The council back home had finally stopped mocking. Because mockery doesn't work when the sky has shadows. Real ones. Impossible ones. Show me the footage again, he said. The aide hesitated. Sir, play it. The feed rewound. Yalth Prime 48 hours ago. A standard midday sky. Then the cloud shifted. A shape, just a distortion at first, began forming in orbit, not jumping in. Not arriving. Just emerging, like it had been. Waiting there the whole time and decided to be seen. A dozen Terran ships, as if unfolding from folded light. No jump signature, no energy flash, just presence. Then the blackout. All planetary systems dead for 11 seconds, and when they came back, the message, you laughed at Earth, we heard. Tave reached out and paused the feed. His claws hovered above the main. Ship silhouette, blocky, brutal, almost ancient in design. No curves. No ornamentation. No arrogance. Just function, like it didn't need to threaten, because it had already decided. They don't want war, he murmured aloud. His aide blinked. Sir, they want memory. Memory of what? Tave turned, and his voice came out cracked. What we did, what we allowed, what we covered. The aide hesitated. I don't understand. You shouldn't, Tave said softly. You're too young. He tapped a hidden panel. One only warrior of veterans knew, the table lit with a file marked, Chimera Incident, sealed. The aide leaned closer, eyes narrowing. Sir, this was purged from council records 2 decades ago. Tave nodded. That's what they thought. The file opened. Images spilled out, bodies, human ones. Some partially dissected, others alive. Barely. Strapped to upright containment pods. Tubes and skulls. Symbols carved in skin. A council-funded lab. Secret. Off-grid. Why are you showing me this? Because I was stationed there, Tave said. He sat down heavily. They were children, colonists, refugees, captured in the early trade years, nobody important, no flags, just Terrans. The aide stared in horror. Why didn't we ever? We were told they were spies. Tave cut him off. That they'd attacked our ships. We believed it. He ran a claw over his own badge, and then one of them escaped. A long breath. We never found him. We thought he died in the jump. Lost in space, the aide whispered. You think he's still alive? Tave didn't answer directly, but he tapped another feed. The ship at the front of the Terran formation, larger than the others. Darker. Its cal sign read only ECO2. The leaned in. That's their lead vessel? No crew, Tave whispered. No lights, no signal, no weakness. The aide was shaking now. Then why is it here? Tave's answer came with a chilling certainty. To watch. They both jumped as a deep chime echoed through the command center. New alert. All screens went red. The comm officer shouted, Marshal, we've lost visual on the echo. What? Tave stood up so fast his chair scraped backward. What do you mean lost? The officer's hands flew over controls. It's gone. All 12 ships remain, but the echo just disappeared. No jump? None. The aide whispered, like it was never there. Tave was already running to the balcony window. Outside, above the Capitol skyline, the other Terran ship still hovered, but he could feel it, like a weight had shifted in the air, like the executioner had stepped off the stage and walked behind the curtain. He turned back. Scramble recon. I want every orbital sensor rescanned manually, sir. Tave turned, expecting pushback, but the aide was staring at something behind him. Tave followed his gaze. A screen had flickered to life. No. Transmission. Just text. Single line. You have 6 hours. No destination. No context. Just time. 6 hours for what? The aide whispered. TYV single quotes. S mouth went dry. For judgment, he said. The lights above flickered, and for the first time in 200 cycles of military service, Tave felt something he couldn't speak aloud. Not fear, not defeat. Something older. Shame. Because the galaxy had laughed. And now Earth was teaching them how to be silent. The 6 hours passed without a single explosion. No Terran ship fired. No warning shot. No contact. They just hovered there above 32 alien worlds, blocking out the stars, letting their silence eat through every layer of pride. At the intergalactic summit, panic had given way to paralysis. The hall, once filled with strategy, ego, and laughter, now echoed with uncertainty and breathless tension. No one knew what to say. Then the sky went black. Not metaphorically. Literally. In every sector the Terran ships hovered. The stars disappeared. The local suns dimmed, one by one, as if something massive had begun casting shadows across entire systems. It wasn't magic. It was motion. The rest of the fleet had arrived. Thousands of ships. Some large enough to eclipse moons, others small, fast, and wickedly shaped like tools forged for only one purpose unseen. Until too late, they didn't decloak. They didn't appear. They simply were. One by one, orbital stations failed. Civilian traffic stopped. Government channels went dead. Every single race watched helplessly as the sky collapsed under the weight of a force too vast to understand, and too quiet to be reasoned with. And then the message came. No voice this time. No. Translation needed. A pulse, sent through deep wave frequencies that even pre-space flight species could receive. On every screen, every surface, every neural linked come. We do not seek your surrender. We require your memory. The words burned across. The stars. Then, another. What you did cannot be undone, but it can be remembered. No specifics. No list of crimes. No accusation. Because Earth didn't need to say what had been done. The guilty already knew. And then, the final line. Simple. Cold. You laughed. Now you live under silence, and across 32 systems. All orbital. Satellites disintegrated. Not exploded. Disintegrated molecular. Unbinding triggered from orbit. Gone in a blink. Then ground. Power grids failed, only for 12 minutes. Just long enough to remind them Earth could remove light if it chose to. Power returned. All digital records had changed. Nothing deleted. Nothing added. But one thing was different. Planetary histories, the archives of every race, now included a new chapter. Undeletable. Uneditable. Locked at the genetic level of their data cores. A chapter titled only Terran Silence. Within it, images. Footage. Audio. Testimonies. The truth. Laid bare of the labs. Of the prisoners. Of the war crimes. The galaxy had buried beneath bureaucracy and ridicule. They watched their own secrets stream across the stars, and Earth never once said revenge. It never said justice. It only said, you will not forget us again. In a quiet chamber beneath Earth's old defense command, Commander Ash Hale stood beside General Riven, watching the responses flood in. 72 apologies, Riven muttered. 19 surrender offers. 83 requests for alliance. Ash didn't blink. And the others? Radio silence. Ash nodded. They'll come around. Riven watched him for a long moment. What now? Ash answered without looking away. We vanish again. Raised a brow. Just like that? Ash's voice was calm. They needed to see what we became. Now they need to wonder where we went. On the orbital feeds, one by one, the Terran ships folded back into shadow, not into warp, not into portals. Just gone. As if they'd never been there. Except now. Everyone knew they had, and that they could return. At any moment. Without warning, without sound, without mercy. The galaxy began rewriting laws within hours. Defense coalitions dissolved. Empires fell from within. Commanders resigned. Religious movements formed around the phrase. You laughed. We heard. For the next 100 years, not a single alien ship entered Terran space. None even approached its borders, because no one wanted to be the next to hear the silence. No. One wanted to trigger the second warning, because they knew Earth doesn't raise its voice. It doesn't posture. It doesn't beg. It just builds in the dark and waits for you to forget. Then it reminds you. One ship. One phrase. One final truth burned into the stars forever. You laughed. Then the sky went dark.